Hey everyone, and welcome to a new episode of RCT1 but Beautiful. Now, we've done 6 scenarios now, or 7 I mean. These ones and Fantopia, which is from the added attractions. And it's now time to tackle Trinity Islands. Now, Trinity Islands is on a set of islands, as the name implies. And yeah, it's actually quite a small land area that you're able to build in. There's actually some area with construction rights, so you can build above it. But anyway, we don't really care about that, since I'm going to set it to own the complete land area anyway. Now, I am planning to only build on these 3 islands, and I have quite a fun theme in mind. I want to make it look like a missile base on a tropical island. And missiles, I mean space, or probably I should say a rocket base. So I want to have several rockets stationed here that are ready to be launched into space. And it'll probably be fun to have it look sort of like a military base. So we'll have several cannons protecting the island. We'll have lots of security all around the island. And yeah, I want to make it make sort of a mix between modern high-tech stuff and low-tech old-fashioned stuff. And of course, all in a jungle setting. I think altogether that will look really cool. Anyway, to begin with, I'm just going to do some preparations on the island, make sure we have all the objects that I want selected. And after that, I think I'm going to start just getting into the mood here, and I'm just going to be building some of those cannons to protect the island from external forces. Alright, that was just a fun little project. So yeah, I tried to make these 3 cannons all look a little bit differently from each other. So here we just have a cannon with one tube. I also put some of this radar stuff on top of it. Yeah, that's just to give it a bit more detail. So apparently I guess these would help tracking their targets or something like that. And this cannon over here looks the most different. I guess these are just guns or something like that. And also put a little antenna on top. But yeah, I think these definitely help set the mood in the park. Anyway, what I will do next is work a bit on the entrance of the park. So unlike all the other parks that we've done so far for this series, I think it will be fun to make something like a high security clearance entrance. So we will have some gates, lots of barbed wire, and we'll also have several security guards standing around instead of the normal entertainers that I use. Alright, I've now built the entrance of the park. And I hope you can kind of get an idea of the feel that I want for the park. So yeah, as you can see here, there's a little security building, several of these towers with some security guards in them. And here there's simply some pods with security guards where the guests get checked. And right behind this gate you can see a truck that I parked here at a diagonal angle. And I'll just put some barrels here. And for this entire section I use this New York roof piece as the floor. And I'll probably have this New York roof piece as a floor throughout the park, as I really like how it gives this nice mechanical feel. Now, of course, also some of these marching lamps, because I think they have a really nice science fiction feel to them, without really feeling out of place. And right next to this entrance, I put lots of this dense jungle-style foliage. So yeah, put some of these buried palm trees, as I really like to use these as bushes. I put some of these jungle trees, also some of them buried, and a lot of these bushes as well, and just some accents that I made with these flowers. Altogether, I think this will make the rest of the map look really cool if I continue building like this. Alright, I will just continue working on this park. I will first work on this first island here. I think we can fit several rides on here. Should be able to fit some kind of thrill ride or gentle ride on this part. And we should be able to fit a ride over here as well. Probably some shops and stalls would be nice. And of course lots of jungle foliage as well. Alright, I already got quite a bit done of the first island. So I've added two attractions here. Here you can see an Enterprise, which is kind of like a training machine that you could see on a rocket base. So yeah, I guess it's just to train people for to account for G-forces. And over here I made this top spin. Just tried to decorate it nicely a bit. I'll probably revisit it a bit later, just to add a little bit more to it. But overall I'm quite happy with the look of this area so far. So for the flooring you can see mostly again this New York floor piece mixed with some of these metal pieces. With the foliage I'm really liking the way this looks so far. Lots of this jungle foliage, some palm trees buried, etc. Kind of the same as I did over here. You could also see me start work on a monorail. So I've actually made a suspended monorail here, but I replaced the track with this suspended swinging coaster track. Well, there's still a bit of work to do here since this train is now sitting way too low. Let's change it back to a suspended monorail. Yeah, the reason I didn't simply change this ride type to a suspended coaster is that it would really get horrible stats if I did that, since it would be changed into a coaster and guests would not actually ride it anymore, or would barely ride it anymore. So I really want this to stay a transport ride. So probably the best thing for me would be to go in Tile Inspector and make all these suspended monorail track pieces invisible, so that we're only left with the suspended swinging coaster track, because I really like the way this track looks. And I plan to give it some custom supports as well. Anyway, still quite a lot to do over here, so I think I'll just continue on working on this area. Alright, I'm slowly inching my way forwards in this area. Extended this pipe that runs here. Also for this monorail, you can see I've made all the original track invisible. Now you can only see this suspended swinging coaster track. And I've made some of these custom supports here as well. I think this looks pretty cool in the end. I really like the way these supports look now, and I'm definitely going to continue making these throughout this monorail track. I really like the way this theme is evolving. I think it's all right what I envisioned for this area from the start. So it looks quite high tech, but again also mixed with this tropical theme. I think it all works out pretty well. Okay, I have a lot of fun theming this area, but for this video I think it will be fun if we actually start building the first coaster of the park. Now, what I actually have in mind for this area is a coaster that I don't build often, mostly because you cannot do much with the layout. But I kind of want to have a reverse freefall coaster, one that starts over here, and we can probably make it run on top of a pipeline that leads to this island. Then here in the middle it will shoot upwards. And what I might actually do is make a dueling version of it. And over here I kind of want to have a rocket leaning against the tower of the reverse freefall coaster. I think in the end that will look pretty cool. And it gives me a reason to have a nice rocket here in the middle of the area. And I think it will be great theming for the reverse freefall coaster as well. Alright, here's the first pair of coasters for the park. I called it a space elevator, and yeah, what can I say about it? It's just a launched freefall. Now, over here, as I stated earlier, yeah, I've done preparations here. I want to make a rocket here later, but I'm going to do that when it's time to work on this island of the park. So I'll leave this for now, but later, when I actually start working here, I can choose direction for what I want to do. But already, at least this part here is prepared. And over here we have the station for the coaster. It's quite a big structure. Took me a while to come up with a nice design for it. But what I put together here is what I really like. Really happy with how it turned out. Yeah, you can see this pipe passing under it. Some nice support structure under it. For this side of the building, I actually used two monorail trains to act as windows. I kind of like making a curved window using monorail trains. It's just something that I like to do. But yeah, I'm really happy with the shape. Got some nice curves into it. And yeah, with this done, I think I can slowly start inching my way towards this side of the island. Alright, and with that I have finished the first island. So as you can see, I added this condo ride here, and I used some different vehicles than I normally use. You can see some of these suspended swinging coaster vehicles, and that gave me its own set of challenges. But yeah, in the end I think this ride looks pretty nice, and I really like to see these vehicles swing under this supporting track. Now, I also decided to put some stuff under this condo right here on this island. So here you can see in the front just what looks like sort of like a base. You can see some rocket cars here. Not really sure how they would work. And they would probably just fly from here or something. You can see some security guards here. And over here on the other side I decided to make a little harbor. So yeah, just some little docks here, some parked boats, some security guards walking around, even a little vehicle parked here. So yeah, I just try to decorate it a lot, and I think it all worked out pretty well. And of course there's also this magic carpet ride here, and again I did what I really like to do for these rides, and that's make a nice backdrop, and this time it's sort of like in the colors of a sunset. I think that works pretty well. And of course the rest of the island, I just decorated it with a lot of foliage around. And with that I think we can continue to work on the second island. Well, I think I want to do this island here in the middle first. I made a little bridge to it off camera, also did this bridge off camera. I think this island will look pretty nice when I've made a big rocket here in the middle that's going to be supported by this tower. Now, for this island I kind of want to dig it out a little bit. Maybe make several layers here, with the middle being the deepest, and the rocket will be supported there. And I'll probably make a ride or two around this area. Alright, already quite a lot of work done on this island. Now, as you can see, I've done a little bit of work on the queue for this monorail. I've added this coaster. So it's one of those family boomerangs. Although this one is pretty intense, I think. It's at least quite fast. Yeah, I'm quite happy with its layout. I tried to make it do something interesting, give it some interaction. So here it actually goes right under the path through a little tunnel. Here it pops out again, goes above this, or next to this bridge here and above this reverse freefall coaster track. Over here, once again, it dives under the path. I always love doing a spiral like this over and under a path. I think that makes for some great interaction. And finally over here it pops up out of the ground again, and here it does its spike in the other direction. Now I could go with a spike that's just the same gradient throughout, but I think this looks more interesting, so that's why I went with this in the end. And I also didn't really want to I want to have this cannon look like it has a big range around it. So having another spike right next to it probably wouldn't help. And of course I also built this big rocket here in the middle. Now it's basically pretty much the same rocket as the one I built in Mega Park, just used a bit different elements here on the top. But altogether, I think it worked out pretty well, and I really like the way it looks here. So I'm really happy with the looks of this island. I'm just going to continue filling this up with foliage, also making a little building here for the monorail. But other than that, I think this island is mostly completed. Alright, I did some more decorating on this island, mostly covered in foliage now all around. And with that done, I also made a station for the monorail before I forget. Yeah, well, I think it also looks pretty nice. Pretty simple, but it does the job. But yeah, I think this second island looks really nice. And with that done, it's time to work on the final island of the park. Now, actually, what I plan to build in this park is another coaster. Now, one of the coasters that I've been on that I really liked was Euromere. It's a coaster in Europa Park. And basically it's a spinning coaster which first travels up on a big spiral lift hill and travels around some towers. And finally it drops down in some large swooping curves. I think it's a really fun coaster, and I think its theme is really applicable here as well. Since actually on its spiral lift, it actually rotates around the big rocket. I think that will be a fun theme to do here as well. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult to build that with the land being as it is here. So I'm going to flatten the land a bit. And then after that I'm going to build this, try and build a coaster like Euromere here in the middle of this island. Alright, here's our new coaster, which I called Mission Trinity. Now it is obviously heavily inspired by Euromere. As the trains leave the station, they go up this spiral lift here. Now I just made it so that more than one of these trains can be on the lift hill. I think that's quite fun to watch. Now in Euromere the lift hill is actually completely enclosed, but I just put some glass here just to give you a little look inside as the trains are climbing up the lift hill. I think it's just fun to the viewer to actually be able to see inside here a bit. Now as the trains leave the spiral lift hill, they travel around these towers here. Now I connected these towers in some spots here just to make them look a little bit more sturdy. I think this is quite a fun layout. Now, actually, the real Euromir is actually quite heavily banked, but since these coaster trains for the spinning wild mouse don't actually have sprites for banked turns, I decided to just make these turns unbanked. Yeah, I think it actually makes it look a little bit less weird. Yeah, after the trains go through this zigzag part, it's just a few curved drops over here, going back and forth a few times before finally they return back to the station. So yeah, all in all, quite a long ride time compared to most of my coasters, almost 2.5 minutes, but that's mostly because of the lift hill taking quite long to reach the top. But yeah, all in all, I think this layout worked out pretty well. I think the resemblance to the ride, which I took inspiration from, can be seen quite well. And of course, inside this lift hill, there's this big rocket here. Now, it is a little bit difficult to see, of course, even when you use the cutaway view. But yeah, I think at least the top of it gives away that there's a rocket here, especially since it looks exactly the same as this rocket that we have over here. Now, what's left for me to do on this island is, yeah, I want to have some more shops and stalls for food and drinks, and probably also some toilets, because I see a lot of complaints that guests cannot actually find the toilets in the park. Place some toilets somewhere over here. I also placed a Tree of Life here, as I really like to do in all of my parks. If you don't know what it is, simply an invisible toilet, which has a tree overlaid on it, so it looks like the guests are actually peeing on the tree. So yeah, this island could use another toilet, some shops and stalls, and finally, I think it will be fun to have another launch pad here. It will look kind of similar to this one over here, but instead of having a reverse freefall tower, we can probably make a drop tower on the side of it. I think that will be a nice final ride to complete the park. And of course, then it's just a matter of filling up the island with foliage. Anyway, enough talking, let's get building. Alright, I've now added this pair of launch towers, or actually drop towers I should say. I think it looks pretty cool with this reverse freefall coaster track and the invert impulse coaster track attached to it. Yeah, these tracks just go together really well. And when you then hide a launch freefall to the side of it with flying coaster cars, I think that works out brilliantly. Okay, yeah, all that's left to do now, I guess, is to simply add foliage on the island and some decorations as well. We'll probably need some more security guards here, some more security trucks. And I don't just want to add foliage, probably be nice to do something similar to what we did here, with having a bit of infrastructure exposed for the military stuff that goes on this island. So I'm going to do that off camera, so I'll be back right after I've finished decorating this island. Alright, I did some more decorating on this island, and as you can see it's now completely filled with foliage in the spots where it was empty before. Yeah, I really like how this became. You can see also a little bit of a base area behind here with some of these trucks, some more security guards. You may notice several more security guards all throughout the park. Quite a lot of them are just roaming freely, and there's also some which I just gave a spot, either walking on a roof or even on top of these launch pads. But yeah, while in previous parks I had lots of entertainers or other staff members, in this park it's just full of security guards. Now I have 41 security guards in this park, and coincidentally I also have 41 patrons, so I think it will be fun to name all these security guards after the people who support me on Patreon. So that's what I'm going to be doing now, quickly. Alright, and with that, all security guards now have a name, and they're all named after one of my patrons. So yeah, thanks a lot for everybody who's supporting me, and I hope you all enjoy your spot in the park. Of course, you can download this park from my Discord server. It's completely free, and then you'll be able to check out all the details in the park for yourself. Anyway, I think it will be fun if we take a quick tour through the park now to see everything that I have built. So I'll start with the entrance, of course. Here you can see the entrance area of the park. It's just more like a security checkpoint. You can see these walkways that I've made with this mini golf track, just a simple security building right next to it, and several guard towers for the security guards over here. Also parked a little security truck here with some barrels and just lots of tropical foliage around it. Right here is the entrance, the first island of the park. You can see a big cannon over here. There's several of these throughout the park. Over here you can see the station for the suspended monorail that travels through the park. It's in shuttle mode, so it just travels in between these three stations and just goes back and forth all the time. Over here we have this Enterprise called GeForce Training. Over here we have this top spin. I also made a little sunglasses stall here called Secret Service Sunglasses. So you'll see a lot of guests actually carrying sunglasses in this park. I think it fits the theme. You can see some tubes that travel all throughout the park, especially in this area. Over here there's this magic carpet ride, and here's the first pair of coasters in the park. This is called Space Elevator. It's basically just a dueling reverse freefall coaster. So these get launched here, and then they go up this track, and you can see parked this big rocket here on the side of this vertical track. I thought this was a really cool decoration for this coaster, and definitely makes this island over here look nice. So over here I made this Condor ride, which I called Space Swing. Normally I use bobsleigh vehicles for a Condor ride, but here I used these suspended swinging coaster cars. I actually think this works really well. So yeah, really happy with how this turned out. Now under this Condor ride I made this what looks like a base. You can see some rocket cars here. Over here there's a little harbor with some docks. And of course lots of security guards walking around here. Now over here, this is the second island that I built. You can see another monorail station here. Of course the big rocket that I already mentioned. And here there's this Vekoma family Boomerang. So it's the guests actually travel up this spike backwards, and then they get released, and they travel all over this little island. So they go under the path several times, go over the paths. Yeah, I tried to give it lots of interaction. I think this kind of coaster is always really fun to work with, because it's just so easy to fit into any area, and you have lots of flexibility with the layout. So yeah, once again, just I think it worked out really well here. And yeah, I especially like all the interaction it has in this area. I just found a little spot where I want some extra foliage. Alright, there we go. Again, another cannon over here, also with the security guard next to it. This is Alex Harding. But yeah, he's taking an eye out for... he's keeping an eye out for intruders, unwanted trespassers. Alright, and then the final island is over here. And here I made a coaster which was inspired heavily by the coaster Euromere at Europa Park. So yeah, it's actually a coaster with spinning vehicles. Actually used the spinning wild mouse vehicles. It's also the reason this coaster doesn't have any banked turns, because these vehicles don't have any sprites for banked turns. But yeah, they travel up this spiral lift hill here. You can actually see several trains traveling up this lift hill at the same time. And yeah, they will just slowly travel up. On top here, they will gently travel through these curves. And then finally, after they've passed by these towers, they will go down this this curved drop. And then they will go through a section of the coaster which is quite a bit faster and more exciting. Now, I think I can actually get away with putting an extra train on this coaster. So that's what I'm going to do now quickly. Alright, that should help with the queue time a bit. And it will be, I think it will be fun to see more trains travel on this spiral lift hill at the same time. It is pretty safe, I think, because yeah, the trains go up this lift hill quite slowly, so there should be enough space in between the trains. It doesn't run with block brakes, but yeah, I just like having more trains on the lift hill at the same time. Yeah, no bank turns, like I already mentioned. These trains can only do flat turns, really. But yeah, I really like the way this turned out. Definitely has Euromere vibes. I also kind of like the building that I came up with. The bottom of the building is quite rectangular, but the top here, I used some of these expansion pieces. I don't use them very often because I find them pretty difficult to use, but in the end I think it worked out quite alright, and I'm really happy with the way this looks. Now on this island, once again, we also have a little bit of a base area. Another monorail station over here, and finally here we have this this drop tower, or this pair of drop towers. I call it launch pad 2, and yeah, I just decorated them to look like they're on the side of another launch pad, just like this one. I think it looks pretty cool in the end. And I think it's definitely a nice way to fill in the rest of this island. Alright, well yeah, that was all that I've built in this episode. This was really fun for me to work on. It's not too big of a scenario. In the end, I did go way more detailed than I anticipated in advance. But yeah, it is how it is, and I think it turned out really great. I already mentioned you can download this park from my Discord server. It's completely free, and I definitely recommend you to check it out and find all kinds of hidden details for yourself. Anyway, to finish off this episode, I think it will be fun to take a ride on the coasters of this park. I hope you enjoyed watching me build. If you liked it, please consider giving this video a like. It would really help out my channel. And yeah, I'll see you again in the next video. See you later.